Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'll be just looking through the Jstris leaderboards. If you're a new player, you look at the leaderboards, you might think it's pretty intimidating, and it is because these are the best players. They have, the records for the fastest in every mode possible. But I just want to break down some of the statistics here so you can better understand what you're looking at. So, most obviously, especially if you're looking at things like cheese or sprint, you have the time. This is, how long it took to complete. And, it's pretty straightforward. But let's say we look at survival, it's the opposite. You have someone who played for 2 hours of survival. CZ, actually, one of, the best players in the game right now. Just a casual 2-hour survival. So pay attention to the time, whether it's supposed to be small or big. Next, you have blocks. It's just the amount of blocks placed. And if you look at sprint, 40 lines, it's mostly around 100 to 103 is average. Next, you have PPS, pieces per second, and if you just look at sprint, they're just absolute monsters. 7 PPS for some of the fastest sprints. Now, obviously, PPS is not always going to, it's not always having more pieces per second is better, because let's say you are playing cheese race and you're just placing useless blocks, like here. First place is 3.9 PPS, while second is 4.33. So, first place placed 11 blocks, second place placed 12 blocks. So here, PPS is not a direct indicator of success. And next we have finesse, and you'll generally notice that for things like sprint or cheese with a very low amount of lines, they'll usually be around 0 or very little, because finesse is basically the extra amount of steps taken to get a piece into a certain position, and more steps just equals more time. But let's say, we look at Ultra, it's 2 minutes, and here you have 2 minutes of time, and finesse isn't really the biggest thing to worry about. So you see, finesse isn't 0. They all have a varying degree of finesse, but that's alright, because, here for Ultra, you're calculating score, not speed, and while you have a time limit of 2 minutes, it's not the thing that matters the most. So here you have the date, which is pretty self-explanatory. You can just see, what time people did it. And a feature that's very useful is you can actually look at the replay. So let's say you're playing sprint and you want to learn how to get better. So you go to 40 line, you check the replay, and it loads. Alright, so you can see, so he's using a 6-3 stacking method. You can sort of look through his thought process, see, what he's looking for, maybe what he's trying to do, and maybe it can help your own sprint. But let's say, it is honestly very fast, so you can actually slow it down to maybe half speed or a quarter speed, and you can notice, okay, so he's doing a pretty classic setup with 6-3. He's putting the T, the S, and Z over here, started with a good square piece there, and then you can see, what he's sort of trying to do. He's creating those jagged edges to fit the S and the Z pieces, like with the T. As you can see here, he's filling it with the T, and, he's just, creating the boxes over there. And he's looking ahead in his queue to see that he had whatever piece he had. And yeah, it's very useful, the replay feature. And another thing that is pretty interesting is you can sort what types of records you want to see. So let's say you want to look at best subs. And let's say, you're starting out, you're maybe like a sub 50 player. You can look at the sub 50s and compare yourself to them. Not that there's a really like any need to compare yourself to others, but you can just sort of see what they're doing compared to what you're doing, and maybe learn a bit from them. And not all the records will have replays. Maybe they were there was some sort of communication issue and they couldn't save the replay or whatever. So, but I would always recommend checking the replays for the modes, because you can actually learn a lot from